we call it the inaugural because by its very nature, we are also saying next year will also be here. And I'm glad to have heard Mr. Nzimande saying this area, this place, will be transformed into a cultural center. A cultural center of note where people on weekends will know where to go. I'm also pleased with the comment that was made by the Dean of the faculty. And I want to make sure that that statement begins to find expression in what we do. When you said African thought is the business of the university, this is an act of reclamation and a very important one. People may ask, and some people outside would be surprised that we have an Africa Day in Africa. Then they will ask, what about other days? Why do you choose when you're an African? If you go to Europe, they don't have a European Day. You go to the United States, they don't have an American Day because every day is American. Every day is European. But there is a history to this. The Africa Day is important because it reminds us of where we come from. It's an expression also of a commitment of a few people who gathered elsewhere and said Africa will be free and Africa must unite. The formation of the establishment of this day was decided in 1963 by the Organization of African Unity, simply to make a statement that, and one must understand that at that time, Africa was largely under colonial rule. So the decision to say we'll have a day where we will reflect on how far we have come becomes very important. It also becomes a day in which not only do we reflect, but we then recommit ourselves to the challenges that the continent faces. There are three things that we hope to achieve with the Africa Day, that until such time that there will be no need for Africa Day, when every day will be Africa Day. But in the meantime, our challenge is on promoting the promotion of the cultural understanding among the peoples of Africa. It is also about the fostering of a Pan-African identity. Many of our friends who had gone abroad and when they came back with new names. People who used to be called Moses, so and so, came back calling themselves Thabo, Musiwa, and all that. Precisely because when they were in Europe or in Americas, when they introduced themselves, they would say, I'm John Numa. And somebody, John, I thought you were African. So some of them, they had to go outside to be reminded that there's nothing wrong in being who you are. So this is about making sure that we also foster that African identity. It is also about forging African unity. We are victims of colonial rule, where colonialism succeeded because of its ability to sow divisions amongst ourselves. So this day is also a day in which we hope that we can foster that unity. The last point that the Dean also mentioned about this day, especially with Africa having been almost free politically, we still have a challenge economically, is also about the strengthening of regional socio-economic cooperation and integration. But also it's about the socio-economic integration of the continent, so that the continent can take its place among the free nations. Leaders of nations, when they approach the podium, a Chinese president will speak in Chinese. A Japanese prime minister will speak in Japanese. A French president will do the same. Only Africans speak in the language of their colonizers. Because with the Chinese, Japanese, Germans, and every other people, when they assume the podium, they are making a statement of who we are, who they are. They say, we are the language we speak. So I'm giving you an example of a challenge. And it is for that reason that we at the University of Zululand have decided that we're going to establish the Center for African Languages Development, so that we can develop our languages to become languages of science, technology, commerce, in the same way that other people have actually done so. The best way in which we are going to liberate the continent and develop the continent, it will not be on the basis of foreign languages. It will be on the basis of the language that is spoken by many people. There's nothing as nauseating, irritating, than to see that even in our courts, we cannot even meet our people at their weakest when they are looking for justice. You go to some of the rural areas in uMhlathuze, where the magistrate is Xhosa speaking, the accused is Xhosa speaking, the defense lawyer is Xhosa speaking, the prosecution is Xhosa speaking, but they have to transact that in the language that some of them don't even understand. And if we cannot even do justice at that level, then there is a crisis in the continent. So we at the university have decided to join hands with uMhlathuze and with the department and with the office of the premier to make sure that we transform that reality. Until we reclaim who we are, until we are able to say to the world, we are not a mistake, that we're not children of a lesser God, then when we reach that, then we can say Africa will be free. And when that happens, then every day will be an Africa Day. So from the university, represented by the VC, who unfortunately could not make it because of prior engagement and appointments, we are here to indicate our commitment to this vision of those leaders who met. And what you don't believe, it always starts with a few people who have an idea. When these fellows who happened to be men at the time met and said Africa shall be free, the whole continent was unfree. You know, people had to cross crocodile-infested rivers to leave South Africa. so that they can go and join the struggles of liberation. And when Mandela appeared before the Rwanda trial, one of the things that he had to explain to the judges, is who he is and how he got involved in the struggle. And he said, when he was a little boy, he used to listen to the elders, and they spoke about the heroic struggles of African people. And as he listened, he wished that history would be so kind that he could be part of that struggle. And this is why he said that during my lifetime, I'll dedicate myself to this African struggle. I fought against white domination. I fought against the black domination. I cherish the ideal of a free and democratic society in which all people live with equality and in harmony. But like Mandela, what Mandela did was, and his group, is to take the baton from those who came before him, to say, you guys went as far as here. We will take it from here. So, Professor Masocha, Mr. Zemane, and the Office of the Premier Representative here, this is an expression to say, we must take that baton. And as Franz Fanon put it so eloquently, that each generation must, out of a relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. We have a challenge. And you could say, Dr. Ndombela, that our mission has been imposed on us. Our mission is to make sure that Africa does not only become politically free, but it becomes culturally free before it can even become economically free. It all starts at the level of ideas, because it is through ideas that you can transform those ideas into words, as you often do, and then those words will turn them into action. And with that action, when it's repeated, it becomes a habit. And habit is what defines our character. And it will be that character that will define our destiny. So, to all the offices that are represented here, this is an affirmation and a commitment by the university that we are ready to assume this mission that started the very first day when Africa was colonized. And it is for that reason that we say this day is going to continue to be important, and we must walk the journey until the day does not becomes irrelevant, because every day will be an Africa Day. And as far as the university is concerned, we are very pleased to be in partnership with the museum, to be in partnership with the municipality and the city. We are also part of the agenda as it's put at the provincial and at the national level, that we will reclaim our humanity, and then we will have something to offer. But it first starts with a cultural expression. It all starts with saying, we are not children of a lesser God. I want to thank you.